Hello everybody and welcome to Meeting in the Flesh. This is a horror visual novel, mostly romance, but a little bit of horror. I did start playing this without recording any of it because I am a doofus and I forgot to push the button. You hear non-explicit visual descriptions of this stuff. Not going to read it out loud because, I don't know, I don't want to get tortured and burned by YouTube. Which, why saying that, not the other stuff, would have helped? I don't know. I'm sorry. Okay. After years of waking up at the same time every day, I've grown far too accustomed to it. The outside must still be cold from the rain last night. The room feels a little chilly, and there's a strong compulsion to stay curled up in my blanket. My bed is enticingly warm after all, so I decide to remain still until it's absolutely necessary for me to rise. Keeping my eyes closed, I consider what to wear today. The weather today is supposed to be cloudy. Wearing an extra cloak might not be a bad idea, just one of the lighter ones. Making sure I'm recording. The alarm beetle starts chirping, and I lay a hand on it before its first trill is over, gently silencing it. I crack my eyes open to squint at the light gently filtering into my room. I will pick to get up because that's what I do. I just get up. I better get up. I mean, sometimes, of course, I laze around, but for the most part, I just get it over with. Alright, let's get going. I crawl out of bed and begin my usual morning routine. It's become such a deeply ingrained habit that I hardly need to think about what I'm doing. I splash my face with water first and wipe off any pus that's accumulated overnight. That's nasty, but I guess you are a monster, so do what you need to. Toweling my face off, I return to the open windows and air out the place. The atmosphere outside is crisp from last night's rain. The ground's still a little moist, and there's a pleasant miasma that stings at the nose. Poking my head out of the window, I take a few deep breaths to chase off the last tendrils of sleep before withdrawing back inside and making my bed. I find my way to my table to retrieve my usual breakfast, a block of salt and a cup of water. They're gonna munch on some salt. Could you imagine? Ugh. Some people go without eating in the morning, or only drinking water, but I found it hard to last the morning without some salt. The crystals crunch between my teeth as I look for a cloak of appropriate thickness. The cloak I'm looking for turns out to be abandoned in a corner, and I swallow my mouthful of salt as I pull it on. The salt burns down the full length of my throat, and I wash it down with water. That done, I smooth my hands down the front of my cloak to brush off any stray salt crystals, and to make sure there aren't any unsightly wrinkles, I want to look presentable. Oh my god. I tried to let my cat out before I started this recording, because she was acting like she wanted out. Oh, she's over by the door. I gotta go let her out. BRB. Out! We're going out. Come on then. Okay, so sorry about that, but priorities. Cat comes first. Even if I'm just a delivery agent, I still want to look good for my clients. Good. I'm happy for you. My entire routine doesn't take more than 15 minutes. I've streamlined it well over the years. I glance outside as I close my window. The streets outside are still mostly quiet, with only a few people bustling about. The owner of the corner store is quietly sweeping the streets, the rhythmic scratch of brush bristles against the damp dirt echoing down the block. A few crows linger on a nearby roof, muttering to themselves. They seem a bit more excited than usual. My room falls quiet when I close the window. As I leave, I lock the door and jostle it 1, 2, 3 times to make sure it's secure. Then I head down the street. The crows bellow at me when I walk past them, and I glance up to give them a smile. They remember people's faces, so it's best to stay on their good side if possible. Past them, the sky is a deeper green than it usually is. I squint and shield my eyes as I look up at the sun. So the sky's green, huh? That's interesting. That's right. I'd forgotten. The eclipse is in 2 days. Oh. The primary sun looms largest overhead, but its smaller brothers don't lag far behind, the three forming a lopsided triangle. The moon lingers lower down, closer to the horizon, like a pale paper cutout laid against the sky. It's normal for them to be scattered like this, but in 2 days, for just a few moments, they'll all align. The 3 suns all overlapping at one point in the sky, blocked from our view by one of our 2 moons. An absolute solar eclipse. Wow, that's gotta be pretty rare with that many bodies, right? Ah, I think this is... Oh, no. This is somebody else. Excited about the eclipse coming up. I thought it might be us. I give a slight jump when a voice chirrups right behind me. I swirl around so quickly I almost end up entangled in my own cloak. Whoa, didn't mean to scare you there. Sorry about that. No, it's alright. I was just thinking about things. One of my neighbors, Ageri, from just down the block, she looks more jittery than usual, a string of saliva dribbling down from her mandibles as she also casts her gaze up towards the sky. Oh, it's so exciting, isn't it? Just 2 more days, and it'll be the eclipse. Are you thinking of doing anything special on that day, sweetie? I smile and shake my head. Nothing in particular. I'm just looking forward to seeing it. Oh, that's also fine, but you should really think hard, just in case there is something special you want to do on that day. Well, an absolute solar eclipse only occurs once every century or so, a rare event. I squint up at the sky. Perhaps because of that, people view it as an auspicious phenomenon. It's said that if you make an important life decision or attempt something new on the day of an absolute solar eclipse, the results are more likely to be favorable. Oh. I've never believed in such superstitions, but I know most of the city is looking forward to the eclipse. A lot of people propose to loved ones, explore new areas, or change their jobs on eclipse day. As a result, I've heard it's considered something of a headache for the community organizers who need to deal with the chaos. Still, the excitement building in the air is almost palpable. I would be excited. Regardless of my own beliefs, I don't see any reason to squelch anyone else's excitement. I look back to my neighbor. Do you have any plans for Eclipse Day, Gary? Oh, I do. She gives an excited chirp, clasping her hands together. I'm going to visit my dear friend across town. We had a rather bad fight years ago and haven't spoken since, but we agreed to meet on Eclipse Day to talk things out, and I'm sure we'll be able to rekindle our friendship. That's awesome. That's real sweet. Her genuine excitement is heartwarming. Indeed. I can't help smiling as I give her a nod. That sounds wonderful. I hope it goes well. Thank you, dear. Oh, but I shouldn't keep you for too long. Are you on your way to work, aren't you? Oh, you are on your... Yeah, whatever. I nod again. It's all right. I always head out early, and it was nice hearing about your plans. Well, good luck on your work, and I do think that about something to do for Eclipse Day. It'd be such a shame to let the opportunity pass by you. I give her a small wave as I turn to leave, and she cheerily returns the gesture. Aww. But once I turn the corner, I speed up into a light gallop. Despite what I told her, I hurry a little. I like getting places a little earlier than necessary. Fair enough. Good morning, boss. This looks like a devil's den. The air in the salt processing plant stings at the nose, burning at the lungs a little with each breath, and I try not to inhale too deeply. Full-time workers here usually wear masks unless they happen to have well-developed nasal filters. Since I'm usually in and out of here quickly, I don't bother with masks. Where's your mask? My boss is pretty strict, though. It's alright, boss. I'll be out of here pretty quick. No, wear your mask. You'll need to wait a few moments. He thrusts the mask into my hands before I could stop him, then turns away to a nearby table piled high with packages. I give a slight, exasperated sigh. How many times have we had this exact same exchange before? Well, you should know. You're never going to win, then. Although it's a good indicator of how much the boss cares for his workers, I guess. Put on the mask, you butthole. Might as well just put on the mask. It's a little uncomfortable, especially where the filter brushes against the raw sections of my face, but it doesn't immediately make breathing easier. As I adjust the mask strings, I make a cursory glance around the factory. It's a familiar sight, but its internal workings are always fascinating to watch. A chute at the far end of the room belches out spurts of salt crystals, spilling them into a huge vat. The steady hum of grinding and crunching sometimes seeps through the chute, like the sounds of many small bones being chewed up. Oh, that's such a descriptor, isn't it? On the other side of the chute is the machine that processes the raw salt, breaking up any larger rocks into these smaller crystals. The ground-up salt needs to be processed further, though. The grinding process doesn't get rid of any insects, rocks, or hair clumps that might be present in the raw salt rocks. Workers carry huge buckets of this unprocessed salt to the smaller vats that dot the cavernous room. These vats are constantly stirred with long poles, pressing the salt crystals through filters that will catch any unwanted material. The filters quickly clog up with hair and insect wings and need to be swapped out frequently. One vat has a worker carefully adding an enormous bucket of flavoring to it. The scent of honey comes wafting through the air, and I inhale deeply. This is a really cool look. This is like a really cool look into this. I really like this. like description of what's going on in the salt processing plant. I think it's really unique. It's really cool. The sweet slick of the sweet slick of honey contrasts beautifully to the familiar crisp sting of salt. Honey salt must be delicious. Maybe I'll get to splurge on it someday. But in order to do that, I need to work. What's my quota look like today? My voice comes out a little muffled past the mask. A little more than usual. I step to the table to help the boss load packages with a cloth bundle. Each package is a block of salt wrapped tight in a piece of fabric. The fabric protects the salt from any moisture while it's in transit and also catches any pieces that might crumble off. Most of the bundles are wrapped in cheap tan fabric. Those are packages of normal salt, but there are a few packages wrapped in red or yellow cloth, and even fewer wrapped in white cloth. The white ones are mercury, right? What? The boss grunts in the affirmative. Mercury salt is such a rare treat that I don't deliver it often. That looks like more honey and punishment salt than usual, too. Punishment salt? Is that like spicy? People getting excited about the Eclipse treating themselves? Right, of course. The boss counts the packages one last time before tying the bundle shut and handing it over to me. There's the rustle of fabric and the crackle of loose salt crystals bumping into each other with each movement. The package weighing heavily in my hands, I tie the fabric tight over one shoulder so the bundle won't come loose or jostle around too much while I'm running. And here's the route. He hands me a scrap of paper with just a few notes jotted on it. I've long since memorized my route. The paper only notes any exceptions. Who doesn't need salt today? Who's getting special salt instead of the usual? Who's getting more packages than normal? Usually I don't even need this cheat sheet, but there's a lot of exceptions today. It really does seem like everyone's changing things up in preparation for the Eclipse. All the more reason to avoid making mistakes. I'd hate to deliver people the wrong salt and put a damper on the mood. Got it. Pocketing the note, I give the bundle one last tug with my hand to make sure it's in place before turning towards the door. Right before I push the door open, I remember to take my mask and hand it back to the boss. He gives a snort as he takes it back, waving a hand to shoo me out and on my way. As the heavy door lumbers shut, I hear him call out gruffly, "Take care." Just a tiny sliver of the plant's interior is visible past the closing door, and I give him a wave of the hand before turning back towards the street. All right, time to begin my route. That's rad. Seems like a nice boss. I've been delivering salt for several years now, though I was uncertain when an acquaintance first suggested the job to me. I've really warmed up to it since then. The workload is consistent and predictable. Sorry, I don't have any, back support. But that's fine. I works on my back muscles, strengthen them. And my ab muscles, yes. My back just gets tired. I've been delivering salt for several years now, though I was uncertain when an acquaintance first suggested the job to me. Sorry, I've really warmed up to it since then. The workload is consistent and predictable. My boss is nice, if a little gruff, and the neighborhoods I deliver to are full of friendly people. Toll. Ha! Hey, starting on your route for today? Yep. Have a good morning. You too. Oh, is that us? Oh, 4 legs? Maybe 3. It looks like 4, though. My hind claws dig a little into the ground, kicking up small clumps of dirt with each step. I quickly fall into a comfortable galloping gait as I take a hard left outside the salt processing plant and start heading down the street. Huge slabs of building loom overhead on both sides. This block doesn't have many residents as it's mostly factories. I pass by those quickly. No deliveries to make just yet. But I do have one delivery to make on the corner up ahead. The building at the very end of the block is smaller, its outer walls off-white instead of murky beige. It's not very tall either, but it does have an awesome structure sprouting from its top. A giant tower clawing up towards the sky, made of bone and coated with smooth flesh. An enormous pair of antennae protrude from the tip of the tower, their chitinous shells gleaming faintly in the sunlight. They whip back and forth at random intervals as if raking through the air. The numerous eyeballs at the antenna's base also blink frequently, their irises swiveling about to survey their surroundings. One of them whirls around to look me over when I approach, and I give it a small wave. Huh, what's that about? The front entrance to the building has a small sign carved into it. The sign reads, Community Overlook Center. I open the door and enter. The office's interior is much cozier. They are clean and warm. There are a few desks littered with papers, workers busily reading over their contents and filling out other forms. This place always looks busy when I come by. Never hectic, though. Despite the steady bustle of productivity, things always seem in control. Not that I know these workers very well. I do wave to a vaguely familiar face, but head straight to the far corner where the tower control pod sits. The pod's nerves crawl up the wall like a giant spiderweb, thick cables of flesh burrowing into the smooth rock surface. The pod itself is a giant oblong shape, coated in flesh and pulsing gently. The eyeballs embedded in its surface flicker about more languidly? A few of them fixing on me as I approach. Though they close wetly after a few moments of staring, they probably don't want to get squished when the pod opens. Wait, why do I feel like I read that before? Maybe it's just like deja vu, but like, I feel like I specifically read that before. Maybe I saw it in like a compilation of some kind of visual novel or something, because I have played other games in a similar vein to this. There's the loud squelch of fluid, slick flesh when the pod splits open at the center, its two halves neatly sliding apart like a beetle's carapace. A wall of hot, damp air bursts outward as the pod opens. The interior of the pod is oozing with fluid, drips of it spilling out to dot the floor. A thick coating of it obscures the shape of the person sitting inside until he sits up and stretches his arms. Fluid comes sloughing off inside in sheets, spilling back into the pod's interior. As he rises to his feet, there's two wet plops of suction as he detaches the pod's nerve cables attached to his temples. Hi, Yeastal. Maybe I should have looked up if they have a pronunciation guide. I will do my best still. Yeastal towers over me when he straightens up to his full height, the bones of his feet clicking gracefully on the floor when he steps out of the pod. Everybody, I'd like to introduce you to Yeastal. This is our first romance candidate. That's what it's called. Which honestly we might go for him. Just, I read through the like short character descriptions. And I like this guy. I like his vibe. Good morning, Bill. He walks gently, his voice low. It's a little hard making out what he's saying if the office is ever really busy, but it does make him sound very reassuring, especially when he smiles a little. Diligent as ever, I see. Yeastal leads the way to a table nearby. It's far enough from the pod that there isn't any danger of fluid splashback, which is good. Salt doesn't hold up well against anything wet, and I have a lot of salt to drop off here. My bundle's heavy from the day's worth of salt, and I'm looking forward to lightening it significantly. I start undoing the fabric knot to put the bundle down on the table. How are things looking today? He gives a small sigh at that, just a warm puff of air that escapes past his chitinous lips. I haven't spotted any real troublemakers, but there's a certain buzz in the air. There does seem to be a little crowd congregating just north of here, so I might have to send someone to check it out later. Hopefully it's just a friendly gathering so I can leave it be. I'd hate to have to get anyone in trouble just before the eclipse. Suggest actions. Agree with leniency? Wait, I have questions. Agree with leniency. Am I agreeing with his leniency that he doesn't want to get anyone in trouble? Or am I, like, I understand you, but also don't get anyone in trouble even if they are being bad? Is that the leniency we're talking about? Let's nod sympathetically. I don't fully understand Yeastal's job, so all I can do is offer sympathy. It does sound like the situation could go either way. Hopefully it won't cause too much trouble for you, no matter the outcome. Thanks, Phil. It should be alright. I'll just keep a few eyes on them for a while. Yeastal's job seems busy at the best of times, and I can imagine it only grows more difficult during times of excitement. Like around the eclipse, there aren't very many people who can handle the pressure of being the town's overlook, especially since the overlook pod is apparently a strain to operate. I bet. I mean, you heard how many antennas and stuff they had going on up there. I'm checking on the audio because this music is very in your face. But Yeastal's been loved by everyone since he took the job. Highly attentive and quick to respond, he's been key in maintaining the town's peace because he's able to spot troublemakers so quickly and send officials to stop them before too much damage is done. It's done a lot to discourage crime. Oh, that's rad. Their arms are creepy. The way it looks like their flesh stops at the forearm and then bone continues. Oh, I don't like it. On top of that, being an all-around nice guy. The fabric finally comes undone, and I settled it on the table before digging through my pockets for the note. Alright, it says here you need 24 packets of salt today, correct? Correct. 24 then. Eastal doesn't eat the 24 packets of salt for himself, of course. As the community overlook, he's also in charge of keeping an eye out for people who are ill or injured or have fallen on hard times. Anyone who might have difficulty procuring their own salt. These 24 packets will be distributed to such people. That's a little more than usual, right? Is the Eclipse causing any trouble? I lay out the salt packets in stacks of 4. In a sense. Eastal gives a slightly sheepish laugh. Aww. It's not trouble, but why did I say imagine? Where was imagine? Where did I get that? It's not trouble, but I want to ensure that people aren't struggling for salt during a time as joyous as the Eclipse. I'll be giving out a little extra to people who are having a hard time. Aw, what a good boy. My heart warms with admiration. That's really nice of you. I'm sure they'll really appreciate it. 6 stacks of 4, 24 packets of salt lay neatly on the table, and I make sure Yeastel's given it an approving nod before tying my bundle back over my shoulder. Speaking of the Eclipse, do you have any plans? Everyone's so excited about the Eclipse. I shake my head. Not really, I might go out to watch it, I guess. Yeastel laughs gently. He has a raspy laugh, in contrast to his lilting voice. Aw. You sound awfully unimpressed by the Eclipse. I guess I'm just pretty satisfied with where I am right now. I know the Eclipse is supposed to be good luck if you're making any big decisions, but I don't have any decisions to make. I shift the bundle on my shoulder and it comes out like a shrug. Maybe if I try taking a different route on my delivery that day, I'll find a shortcut. That would be nice. It would make your life a little easier, I suppose. Do you have any plans? There's a pause. He still looks thoughtful, a finger tapping at his chin before his lips curve into a smile. It's really interesting watching him have, like, facial expressions, because his face is so different from mine and people that I see every day. It's just really interesting, you know? Like the interpretation of what somebody who looks like Yeastal how they would express themselves. I'm still deciding. But you know, Vil. Yeastal reaches out to touch my shoulder. Despite the hard bones of his fingers, the gesture is soft and comforting, squeezing just briefly before giving a tender pat, then pulling away. The Eclipse really is a special time, not just because of the Eclipse itself, but because everyone is so excited and happy. I don't think it would be a bad idea to take advantage of that unique energy in the air. I give a small smile. Alright, I'll give it some thought. Yeastal sees me off. Is it alright for you to leave your pod for so long? It's alright for a few minutes. Taking short breaks helps keep my mind clear. Don't work yourself too hard. Even if everyone's depending on you, you shouldn't run yourself ragged. Thanks. You too. I grin. Don't worry, you helped me a lot by taking so much salt off my hands. My route's way easier after I've visited you. Yeastal rasps out a laugh. Well, I'm glad I could be of help to you, though I should be the one thanking you for your hard work all the time. Alright, I'll see you later, Yeastal. Take care, Vil. Yeastal waves as I start off at a light jog. I wave back. The overlook tower is docile without him in the cockpit. The towering antennae and the mound of flesh is barely quivering. It's strange to see it so calm, which says a lot about how much I've grown used to Yeastal's constant presence keeping an eye on the city. He's a good guy. I hope he gets a day off sometime. He could probably use it. It only takes me a few paces to hit my stride, my posture lowering as I transition into my usual gallop. That sucks, so Yeastal never gets any time off? That's kind of rough, especially as like a romance candidate, imagining their life after the novel is over. How hard it would be for them to spend time together. With that big delivery out of the way, the rest of the route is smaller. Smaller deliveries, no problem. Here you go. Thanks, quick as ever, Archo. Just trying to be on time. Have a nice day. You too, Vil. Most deliveries go quickly, just 1 or 2 salt packets to drop off along with a brief greeting. For people who aren't at home, I have to drop their salt in the usual delivery box out in front of their door. It's nicer doing personal deliveries since I like saying a brief hello to my clients, but it can't be helped. Everyone has things to do. Thanks, Bill. Honey salt, huh? Planning on doing something special for the eclipse? Yep, thinking of throwing a party. Glad I could get you your salt safely then. I appreciate it. You should be careful on your route now, you hear? Will do. Everyone seems happy. It's nice. It's a nice day. My next delivery is a few blocks away, but I can cut through the park. The ground's a little wetter here, the dirt solid beneath my feet instead of kicking up into little puffs. My claws dig small grooves with each step, no doubt leaving a little line of tick marks to signal where I've been. I'll probably be trampled flat during the day, only to repeat the next day. The paths in the park are flanked by trees, their gnarled branches reaching haphazardly up and outwards, as if they're also looking forward to the eclipse. Small insects lay nestled in their bark, their wings shimmering like water droplets each time they flit around. A few of them chitter at each other, set to the backdrop of crows shouting. Somewhere further away there's the quiet drone of some sort of factory belching long streamers of smoke. It's nice here, the atmosphere is great. I really like getting to cut through the park. I'm so distracted I don't hear the sound of footsteps approaching. Rapidly. Bill! A boisterous pillar of fur and energy comes bursting out of the foliage directly to my right. I jump almost 2 feet in the air. Hey, Bill! Branton. Everybody, meet Branton, our second romance candidate. Yeah, that's what they're called. Oh my god, I think I literally said that same thing the last time. What the fuck? I'm sorry, I have loops, I guess. I loop. Branton stinks of sweat and dirt, his fur matted, dark, in spots plastered out in strange directions from dried fluids, and there's a glob of something fleshy stuck to his jaw. Hey, Branton. Been out all night? Yeah, just as suspected. We were exploring out westwards since we smelled a lot of salt. Haven't found anything yet, though. I'm sure you'll find it soon. You guys are really good at your jobs. Branton beams at me, tail wagging side to side, and knocking around some innocent samplings branches. Branton works as a salt scout. Salt scouts search the flesh fields outside the city in search of raw salt pools. These pools are where we harvest the raw salt processing at the plant, then distributing out to people. An important job. In other words, salt scouts depend on their sense of smell or sensitivity to changes in the air to seek out the signature sting of salt, so apparently many of them don't mind working during the night when visibility is poor. It's not unusual to see a salt scout heading home in the morning, dirty from a long night of exploring. Anyway, even after a night of what must have been exhausting work, Rand talks at a boisterous growl. I can't growl. I thought I smelled you with salt, so I figured I'd catch you now. If I pick up my salt from you here, I'll make your route a little bit easier, right? A smile tugs at my face. Branton looks terribly proud of his innovative thought. Say it helps a lot. There's no way I can squelch that sort of enthusiasm. Of course not. Thanks, it helps a lot. Not really, my route takes me past Branton's house anyway, but I won't tell him that. Branton gives me a wide smile, showing off every single one of his sharp teeth. No problem. It's awfully endearing. Well, let me check what your delivery for today is. Just the usual for me. Sing-songy for no reason, and I'm embarrassed now. Let's not talk about it. He pipes up before I can double-check my note, so I nod as I shift the bundle on my shoulder to pull out his usual delivery. 2 packs of regular salt. Branton tends to eat a bit more than the average. Understandable with how much time he spends moving around. By the way, he sounds excited. I bet he's going to talk about the eclipse. Do you have any plans for the eclipse? The swinging of tails grows ferocious, batting a branch aside with enough gusto to snap it in half. Not really. Everyone seems so excited for the eclipse, which I suppose is the normal reaction. It's probably weirder that I'm more laid back about it. But that's my nature. Besides, it makes me happy enough just seeing other people being so excited. Their feelings are infectious. Aw, really? Come on, you should live a little. Aw, look at that sad face. It's kind of scary in a way. Branton's enormous paw claps on my back, making me stumble forward a step. 1 or 2 salt packets spill from my bundle, but he catches them before they hit the ground. Oh, good boy. I like him. Whoops, sorry about that. It's alright. I put those packets away and managed to extract 2 packets of regular salt in the process. Here you go, the usual for you. Thanks, Phil. For a moment, Britton sounds like he's about to add something, but stops himself. I don't prod. Just readjusting my bundle. Sure enough, he shifts his weight from one foot to the other for a few moments in nervous fidget before speaking up again. Hey, you know, you should really consider doing something for the Eclipse. Well, it's not that I'm against doing anything, but I guess I just don't have any plans. So, you'd be out for doing something adventurous? Bratton blurts out loudly enough to startle off a crow overhead, and I can't help being curious. It's really interesting that this whole planet seems very alien, but they also have crows. So, is this like future evolutions? Could that be? Maybe. Maybe? Cool. There's a pause before he hurries to add, not that I have anything planned or anything, I was just asking. But you never know what might come up, is what I'm saying. I have to fight back a grin. Brenton isn't good at being subtle. I guess you're right. Knowing Brenton, maybe he'll teach me about some hidden location to view the eclipse from. He knows this area like the back of his hand, thanks to his job. This shortcut through the park is also something he taught me about, so I'd actually be pretty happy if he taught me about a strange new location to visit during the eclipse. It might be a nice change of pace. Anyway, I'll let you get back to your job. Brenton's stifling a yawn as he says that. Even his endless energy must be running low after working all night. Sure, you go get some rest. Will do. I like Brandon. Okay, I remember when I said that, oh shoot, what's his name? I'm definitely not cheating here. I'm definitely not cheating. Yeastel. Remember when I said that Yeastel kind of captured my heart? Well, so has Brandon now. It's unfortunate. Oh my goodness. There's no warning before Brent leans in to lick my face. Oh, hello. His tongue dragging all the way up from my chin to my brow and leaving a sticky trail of drool in its wake. A very moist sign of affection. Thanks, bud. Do good on your job and I'll see you tomorrow. And with that, Brenton's on his way. I wave as Brenton makes his loud exit, crashing his way through some defenseless bushes and leaving a trail of trampled ground in his wake. He waves back as he turns the corner around a prickly bush up ahead and then vanishes from view. It's only then that I raise a hand to my face, considering wiping away the damp tracks lingering on my face. I end up just leaving it be. It's not a big deal after all, and my face gets chapped from running against the wind all day. The sheen of spit soothes the raw skin a little bit. So after one last check of my bundle to make sure it's secure, I turn my attention back to the path through the park. Time to get back to work. Here you go. Thanks, Phil. You're always right on time. I appreciate it. It's nicer to get my salt directly from you instead of my box, you know? I understand. I'm glad I could get it to you, too. You're such a good kid. You take care, alright? Will do, sir. The route grows easier toward the end of the day as my bundle grows even lighter. I have to stop to tie it tighter over my shoulder, making sure the excess fabric doesn't billow and flop around too much as I run. The deliveries go smoothly. Everyone seems to be in a pretty good mood, and one client gives me a cup of water to keep me going. Though I don't need the water, it's still a nice energy boost, and I thank her for it before continuing on my way. Also, that's it for this episode. My voice is hella tired. I haven't drinking anything this whole time, and that's my bad. But, I need to go drink like a whole cup of water, maybe get a cup of tea or something. Let me know what you guys think of this game. I think it's really interesting. Yeastel and Branton have definitely captured my heart. I'm a bit worried about the last suitor, gonna be honest. If you'd like to spoil it for yourself, first link in the description will take you to the game page where you can see the last suitor. And, I don't know, maybe the last suitor will also catch my heart. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to check out. So subscribe so you know when I post again. This game specifically, or other games if you're interested. I do play lots of fun stuff. Anyway, thank you all for playing with me. I had a ton of fun. And I hope I'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves. Bye!